So, I was playing some unrated blitz, mainly to see how I fared against higher rated players. I was thinking around the 11 to 1200 rating, and I did have some success doing this. Though, I also use focus mode, so I can't see ratings until the game is done, meaning that often I'll see that I was playing against someone a lot higher rated than me, anything up to 18 to 1900 often. This was one of those cases. I was paired against a candidate master, rated 2363 FIDE, and we played 2 games. I started with black, and I had a chance to win one of these games. So, game number 1, obviously, e4. Most common opening move. What do you expect? e5, because I don't know how to play anything else, I'm only 900 rated. d4, center game. I'm used to people playing this and bringing their queen out immediately. And it's often quite fun because you can target the queen, make it almost a pinata of sorts. That didn't happen, so we have take the pawn, obviously, knight f3. Knight c6, I want to hold on to that pawn. Now it's just a Scotch game, though. Potential gambit. c4. Oh look, the Scotch gambit. I don't know how to play against the Scotch gambit. I usually play the Scotch classical because, I don't know, I still don't know opening theory. I'm a 900. Bishop c5, though. Castles. Knight f6, just kind of regular developing moves. I mean, I'm doing quite well for my rating. I mean, come on. Move 5 and I haven't completely imploded yet. That comes later. e5, kicking the knight away. I go to g4, looking to apply some more pressure to that pawn because both knights are looking at it. f4, defending the pawn. Natural. I castle. They play h3 to kick my knight away. h6, as it's the only square that wouldn't lose me a knight. Unfortunately, he can just take the knight and completely ruin my structure and open my king. And I'm surprised the evaluation's only +1. To me, it's probably at least +55 at this point. But c3, d6, no idea why I played that. I think I was just getting a little bit worried because my king was so open. I probably should have maybe played king h8, slid the rook over to the g-file, but also trying to get rid of the e-pawn so my queen could potentially go to f6 at some point to provide some defense. cd4, bishop b6, I don't want it to get taken, knight c3, d takes e5, d5, kicking my knight away again. So I bring it forward, d4. He just takes the free pawn. But again, it's not too bad. He's just gotten the pawn back. It's a completely even game. Could be a lot worse. Now I play king h8, realizing I need to probably get my king out the way. Computer doesn't like this, because of course it doesn't. Queen h5, queen f6, e4, fair enough. That brings it back to a draw, and I'm not entirely sure why. I just go queen g7, best move. King h2, and as you can see, the evaluation just fell off a cliff, but not for me. Not yet. What I should have played here is I should have played f5. It attacks the knight, so the knight has to move here, here, wherever really. I mean, not here. But once the knight moves, this is completely free to capture because the queen has been blocked from the defense of that knight. Unfortunately, I didn't play that. I went one square too short, and it's back to a draw, except it's not really a draw. Knight f3. I just take it because I see thing I can take. I take it, queen takes, c6, d6, and that pawn is now a problem because it's a passed pawn. Bishop d8, rook ad1, behind the passed pawn. And the evaluation in a few moves has gone from -5 to +2.5. The 900 really kicking in now. Bishop d7 trying to blockade the pawn. Knight just immediately attacks me. I played b5, attacking the bishop, which was stupid. Bishop c8, just immediately going after my bishop. I played bishop c8. No, sorry, bishop e6. Then I played bishop c8. d7. I didn't really have a choice at this point, so I had to give up my bishop for the pawn. Rook takes d7. g6, because I don't want to get my queen taken. f5. g5, my queen has to walk out again. e6, attacking my queen again. I take on f5. Now it's checkmate in 4, because they can take my queen anyway. a5, and queen takes h7, check, and mate. I will say, I was getting very low on time. When I gave up my queen, I only had 7.3 seconds on the clock, so I was just guessing. I've also realised I've just messed up my overlay. Oh well. Now, game 2. I did give him a rematch, not because I thought that I was going to win. I just figure I can probably look back on these games and analyse what I did wrong, what he did to apply more pressure, and how I can apply that to my own games. But he played a Sicilian defence. I'm not very good at Sicilians. Still, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, I just want to play the two knights, knight f6, 4-knight Sicilian, bishop c4, e6, and it's already a draw, at best. d3, a6, castles, b5 going after my bishop. I drop the bishop back, bishop b7, fianchettoing, rook e1, just a basic improving move. They played d6, bishop g5, pinning the knight, bishop e7, completely negating the pin anyway, a4, b4, completely locking the position, knight e2, because I didn't really want to put my knight on a2, that would just be very sad, it would be trapped forever at that point. Queen c7, knight d2, trying to reroute to go onto the c4 square, so he plays h6, I play bishop back to h4, he plays g5, which apparently wasn't the right move. I'm not entirely sure what the right move was, but -2. Anyway, I go bishop g3, he goes after my bishop again, c4, because there's no way I can really retreat the bishop from the knight, knight takes g3, knight takes g3, because I didn't want to damage the pawn structure, long castle, a5, d4, jumping into my position, going after my bishop, knight e2, not the right move, because he can just take the bishop, c takes b3, h5, b6 check, king b8, d4 trying to open the position, but I hung a pawn, d takes c5, d takes c5, g3 going after the bishop. I hung the queen though. Just completely didn't realise that my queen was hanging. It's already -4 at this point anyway, but now it's -9. Rook takes d1, rook takes d1, c6, trying to not let his bishop get taken for free. Knight c4, h4, knight e2, h3. I have to play a very weakening move, allowing the bishop on c6 complete control over my king's movement. Bishop b7 just dropping back, knight e3, c6, creating a battery trying to checkmate on the g2 or h1 square. So I put king f1, allowing my knight on e2 to block. I just thought I'd be able to survive for a couple more moves, which as you can see is exactly what happened. f5, f4, queen h1 check. I block with my knight. c4, knight takes c4, and now there's checkmate in the evaluation. c5, king e2. Now it's checkmate in 2 moves. g2 check, king d3, and bishop e4, check, and mate. Yeah, my 2 games against a almost 2300 FIDE candidate master, funnily enough, didn't go too well, but I'm happy that I held it to a draw and didn't get checkmated in 10 moves. Oh well, maybe it'll be in his position one day. I can hope.